Greetings, children of the screen, your friendly neighborhood nerd scum here, and once again it is time for us to enter the world of chaos, the world of the cold-blooded, the world of the crossed. Now, last time you might have seen myself and Logan, one of the channel's original co-hosts, going back to discuss Crossed Wish You Were Here Volume 1, which if you have not seen that as of yet, there's a link for it popping up right now, and it will be down in the description below. So, yeah, we covered the first volume, and we are going to cover the remaining 3 volumes. However, due to a slight scheduling issue, we had to push that video back, and I thought to fill the void left by that, what better way to do that than by covering a book that gives us a little bit more insight into one of the primary periphery characters of Crossed Wish You Were Here, with the Cross 2013 annual C-Day bonus. So if you like this kind of content, then please leave a like and make sure to subscribe so you can check out all the cross content we have coming out every 2 weeks. So without any further ado, here is what I like to call Jackson's Tale, Part 1. We open on a lone soldier in 3 separate periods of his life. So, there's basically just the one thing you need to know to understand a bloke like yours truly. I'm pure and dead simple me. Don't like complications, you know. My name's Andrew Fraser Jackson, former lieutenant, long-term, secondment Special Boat Service M Squadron. Jackson sits telling his story to 3 people sitting before him. He rises from his chair and strikes a pose. And I'm profoundly and conspicuously mental, and that's your fault and all. So, your penance is you sit here and listen to me waffle about me life. But for now, you got to understand, because I like it simple and I hate complications, is there's 3 parts to this tale. There's the now, wherein I present me sorry story. There's the nearly now, wherein I strive to bridge the past and the present. And there's all the rest, which will excite and amaze with its action and adventure, and which starts, if it should please ye, in the year 1982. Jackson then recounts his participation in the Falkland Island sovereignty dispute, where his unit was brought in to aid in the battle against the Argentinians, who were attempting to take back their island from the British, who claimed sovereignty in 1690. This is where he first met her, Magda. She calls him out for staring at her ass, stating that no man has ever successfully made her climax, then follows it up by questioning Jackson if he really thinks that he's got what it takes. He stammers, only able to ask the question of who she is. She replies with a slew of possible identities, affiliations, and motives she could possibly have. Jackson can only reply with, "Which one is it?" To which she can only reply that he asked that as if she'd know, and like it would make a difference. Jackson was smitten, but admits, as he tells his story, that right about this point his memory starts to break down, as if the thing that made him crazy in the future was somehow going back and polluting what came before it. Matter of fact, the shit yarsal loony stuff steps up a gear in my memory from that point on, right till the near present. For instance, this is about 3 hours ago. Jackson aboard his boat plays the bagpipes for a ghastly assortment of bizarre and macabre creatures that dance through the air and water around him. His boat nears the shoreline of a place he hates, Iceland. He docks his boat and proceeds to mow through several waves of Crossed with his rifle and field knife as he makes his way from the coast inland. Then we jump back again to 1985, the second time he encountered Magda. We see Jackson now dressed in a restaurant uniform with a pink apron, handing off food to a group of terrorists who have hijacked an airplane. As they move into the plane and the food is handed out, suddenly it explodes, spreading gas throughout the cabin. Jackson and his incognito unit attack and subdue the terrorist with ease. Outside the plane, Magda is looking over the bodies of the dead terrorists and calls over her shoulder to Jackson, inquiring as to the effect that the gas had on them. Jackson responds that they reacted in terror. Magda then follows this up by asking if the rashes on their face were an effect of the gas, Jackson responding that it was that or an exploding chicken. They shake hands and Jackson asks her who's pulling the strings this time around. Magda sneers as she tells him, The military-industrial complex nowadays transcends notions of statehood. Notions of West versus East are naive. There are no flags, except those used to make purses. There are no wars, Mr. Jackson, just marketing exercises. However, she is still holding his hand. Jackson can't focus and admits his memories get a little broken around this part once again. For as we can see, Jackson's grotesque, maddening inner world is pouring out into the real world around him, twisting and changing everything. Even Magda, who now appears with an animal tail, ears, and claws as she heads off, telling Jackson that she hopes they will see each other again. Back in Iceland, in the near present, as Jackson enters the mountains, he stumbles upon a group of infected attacking a horse, stabbing it to make new holes in which to fuck it. Jackson puts them down and goes to do the same to the horse, but as he raises his gun, the horse's face shifts and mutates, taking on anthropomorphic features and telling him that it's imperative that he acknowledge his failures. Jackson pulls the trigger and moves along, with his inner world trailing behind him in the air. We then jump back to 1990 when Jackson found himself back in the Marines, put on patrol in the Orkney archipelago off the northeastern coast of Scotland, the same area in which Cava, the island featured in Crossed Wish You Were Here, is located. He describes this mostly vacant area as heaven. Most of the time, they're occupied by fantasizing about facing off with drug smugglers, and hassling scanty bastards for overfishing. Though there was one thing worth mentioning. There was this one salty wee fuck you named Rabbi Harkus. Gave us the right runabout. That's right, motherfuckers. This book not only gives us the backstory for Jackson, but also tells us how he initially met Rab from Cross Wish You Were Here, and how they got acquainted. That's character development on two folds. A double development. Don't ever anybody say that my tangents in this video series are not relevant. Rumor was the hairy old shirt-lifter ran guns out of the Slovak bloc and bound for the IRA. We couldn't prove it, and the fucker lorded over us for months. So there was a great sense of accomplishment when we happened upon the bugger running full tilt across Scapa Flow, and no answering when we hailed. But then suddenly Jackson gets orders to stop hostile action and instead escort Rab's ship through British waters. Once on board, Jackson finds Rab sitting idly by, looking bemused. Someone else was in charge on this ship. And who else could it be but Magda? After exchanging a few heated words, they bang. And once the mission was done, Jackson and his men were on their way to machine gun some seagulls, just for the hell of it. Then we're back in Iceland only about an hour ago, where Jackson continues to slaughter hordes of Crossed as he moves up the mountain, eventually coming to a moon-drenched compound built into the side of it. Fucking Iceland. Ridiculous bloody place hadn't changed at all, geographically speaking. Though I ain't sure I remember it being quite so splattery. But as you know, this isn't my first time in Iceland. Right on, children of the screen. That's where we're going to leave it off this week, but I will be back next week with the second half of this story, and then the week after that we will resume our normal Crossed upload schedule. So guys, full analysis and critique of this book will follow in the second video, but I have to say that so far I'm really enjoying this. Jackson is one of my favorite periphery characters from Crossed Wish You Were Here, and I'm so glad that we got this little bit more insight into his backstory and into his character, and I cannot wait to cover the rest of it with you next time. Right on, guys. Once again, if you like this video, please leave a like, and if you're not subscribed, make sure to subscribe so you can check out all the dope Cross content I'll have coming out in the future. Thank you very much, children of the screen. Hope you have a good one. Nerd scum.